When I ask women who their favourite con artist is, there is one name that always comes up, and I totally get it because even though we don't know his identity or what he really looks like, there is something about DB Cooper that has captured our hearts. To celebrate Spooky Month, I'm sharing the pop culture mysteries I can't get out of my head, and this is the story of DB Cooper, the man responsible for the only unsolved plane hijacking in US history, although now we do have some leads on his identity. It's late November 1971 and Florence Schaffner is working on a plane going from Portland to Seattle when a man hands her a note. She's been hit on at work before and she assumes that it's his phone number, so she pops the note in her purse. Then the man whispers to her, "Miss, you better take a look at that note. I have a bomb." These were his demands. The passengers were to stay on the plane while it refueled in Seattle. Then, when he was handed $200,000, about $1.6 million in today's money, and 4 parachutes, they would be released. The man was calm and polite. His eyes were hidden by sunglasses, but there was something James Bond-like and alluring about him. He was wearing a suit and dress shoes, sipping on a bourbon and soda, and chain smoking. This is really important when it comes to his identity. The plan went off without a hitch. The passengers got out at Seattle, never even knowing that the plane had been hijacked. The authorities handed over the money, and then the plane took off again, flying low and slow towards Mexico, just like the mystery man had instructed. Somewhere over Washington, the cabin crew felt their ears pop. The man had lowered the stairs at the back of the plane. Then he jumped out into the dark and rainy night and vanished, never to be seen again. The man left behind a clip-on tie, a tie clip, and a mystery that would grip the world. This is how the legend of D.B. Cooper was born. Many speculated he hadn't survived the fall, and the notes that the authorities gave him were never found, except for some that were decaying in a riverbed and discovered in 1980, about $6,000 worth. But there's a lot of conspiracy about his identity. The fake name he used on his ticket, Dan Cooper, is a character from a comic book that stars a Canadian Air Force pilot. The comic is only well known in the French-speaking world, so there's a lot of speculation that he might be French-Canadian. Then, last year, 2 siblings, Shanti and Rick McCoy, claimed to have found the parachute used in the hijacking in their mother's shed, and that their dad, Richard McCoy, was actually DB Cooper. McCoy was a former military pilot who had hijacked a plane in 1972, leaping out of it with $500,000 in cash. He was captured 2 days later and sentenced to 42 years in prison, but then he escaped, went on the run for 3 months before being shot and killed by an FBI agent. There is a huge community dedicated to DB Cooper online, and they have absolutely refuted that the parachutes are the same. They said that McCoy bumbled his hijacking in 1972, never smoked a day in his life, and was seen in Utah the day after Cooper's hijacking, so they couldn't possibly be the same person. There's also a conspiracy that the whole thing was a setup by the US government and that's why the money has never been found. I personally think DB survived the jump, but kept a low profile after that and lived out his days somewhere where they didn't care where his money came from. The authorities noted down the serial numbers on all the cash that they gave him, but I doubt that was a foolproof method of tracking money in the 1970s. So what do you think? Do you have a bit of a crush on DB Cooper, and who do you think he was?